So earlier today, I saw the Monique interview on the Shannon Sharpe Club Shay Shay podcast, and I must say that the experience was a little bittersweet. On one hand, this interview seemed like a place for Monique to rehash all the grievances that she ever had with any public figure. However, there were several highlights from the show that gave me a different perspective on Monique's publicly shared grievances. I think that Shannon Sharpe did a great job as an interviewer when compared to his interview with Cat Williams. It seemed like he set the pace for this interview with Monique while allowing her the freedom to express herself however she wanted to. Now, a great portion of this interview consisted of Monique talking about her beef with Oprah and Tyler Perry, her issues with figures like Lee Daniels, D.L. Hughley, and Will Packard, and her standing in solidarity with Taraji P. Henson. What I appreciate about Monique's interview is that she provided specificity regarding the aftermath of the whole Precious promotional fiasco. Prior to hearing the details about how it all unfolded, I'll admit that I was completely against Monique, and I thought that she was being difficult for the sake of being difficult during that time period. But after listening to Monique share the details of her contract and explain why she didn't want to promote Precious essentially for free, then I became more understanding of the situation, and I moved more to the center of the conflict. My only question about the whole situation is this: how would Monique's career look today if she handled the request for her to promote Precious for free differently? Let's say that in the world of make-believe, that Monique played ball and did whatever the studios wanted her to do when promoting Precious. And in doing that, she was able to prove to the powers that be that she has an influential voice and that she's a team player. During this interview, Monique essentially shared that she was supposed to be on the TV show Empire, she was supposed to be in 2 of Lee Daniels' movies, and she had other projects lined up which stemmed from her performance in Precious. So who knows what other opportunities may have come from Monique swallowing her pride and taking one for the team. But in refusing to play ball with the powers that be, Monique admitted that she lost millions of dollars in the process, and she will continue to publicly speak the quote-unquote truth until those that have wronged her have made things right. Now, theoretically, that sounds great and all, but when it comes to the powerhouse figures like Oprah and Tyler Perry, I seriously doubt that Monique has the power to get Oprah or TP to publicly admit that they were wrong in this situation. After all, they are both billionaires and they have a large following, despite the scandals that they've been involved in over the years. The number of people who support Oprah and Tyler Perry far exceed the number of people who support Monique. So I have to ask, what is the point in Monique continuing to rehash how Oprah and Tyler Perry did her wrong? If the purpose of this circus is to show the shady sides of Oprah and TP, then I have to say mission successful. If Oprah and Tyler Perry got Monique blackballed from the industry, then the public deserves to hear about the details and Monique should be compensated fairly. But at what point does Monique's current approach to the matter turn into beating a dead horse with a stick? Furthermore, Monique has proof that Tyler Perry told a lie on her just to get her blackballed. Why won't Monique just take Tyler Perry to court and sue for damages that the lie cost? I suggest this because it seems that the only way the issue between Monique, Tyler Perry, and Oprah would get resolved is if Tyler Perry and Oprah make public statements that vindicate Monique. But the only way that'll happen at this point is if they stand to lose money in future business dealings if they don't do what Monique wants them to do. But in my opinion, if it has to come to all of that in order for 2 Hollywood gatekeepers to do the right thing, then why continue to deal with them at all? Why devote any more energy into publicly shaming them into doing what's right? Why not try to adapt to the rules that are in place or try to forge a new pathway forward to success? These are the questions that I have for Monique. I will say that when Monique explained how she was blackballed, I thought it was fair game for Monique to call out all the people that she thought had her back, such as Kevin Hart, Al Sharpton, and Stephanie Mills. The news about Stephanie Mills' involvement was a little surprising, but for years, people have been warning the public about Kevin Hart and Al Sharpton, so that's really nothing new here. But again, what is the end goal for telling the world about beefs that should have been settled privately with most of these folks? I think it's worth mentioning that Lee Daniels ultimately settled his beef with Monique in a public setting, but that was after most of his movies had already been made and after most of his TV shows have ended in their run. So I doubt that Lee Daniels would have been willing to settle things if he were still in the height of his career. But there is a portion of the interview where Monique talked about her issues with D.L. Hughley, and out of all the people that Monique had beef with, D.L. Hughley is the only one that I'll defend. I used to listen to his radio show every day, and I know how his crew gets down when interviewing celebrity guests. In my years of listening to D.L. Hughley's radio show, I've never heard of a guest getting offended by the would you rather section. But hearing Monique come into the interview process, having heard all the bad things DL said about her over the years, made me wonder why she would even agree to go on his show in the first place. And the entire situation with DL and Monique having issues with who would be the headliner at a comedy show was pretty stupid to me, and not worth the time and effort to partake in. Monique used a large part of this segment to express her issues with DL, but she never really took accountability for her role in bringing DL's family into the mix and how hurtful her comments were to them. Had she done that, then I would have had a lot of respect for her. Now, a large part of the interview was dedicated to Monique speaking up for Taraji P. Henson and her fight with being underpaid in Hollywood, as well as Monique's experience with being on the Queens of Comedy tour. Monique used these topics to explain why black women, and only black women, are lowballed in Hollywood and why black women need to be protected. I think the major flaw in this argument is the belief that just because you're good at what you do and you've been doing it for a while, that you deserve top dollars in an industry that rewards employees that can generate revenue and make great business partners. And to help explain my stance on this, I will use the ice cream analogy. Two people are hired to sell ice cream at an event with thousands of people. Person A has been selling ice cream for a number of years, and they know a lot about the ice cream business, while person B has been selling ice cream for about a year or so, but they have a proven track record of selling 5 times as much ice cream as person A. Should person A and B get the same salary, even though one is bringing in a lot more money than the other? In my opinion, when it comes to Hollywood, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of talented actors that have skills better than somebody like a Kevin Hart. However, somebody like Kevin Hart can demand a high salary for his movies because he has a proven track record of making money and having a crossover audience. As good as Monique and Taraji P. Henson are as actors, they really haven't proven that they can bring in as much money as some of their counterparts. For example, I think that most people in the community would agree that Monique is a better comedian than Amy Schumer. But whether you love or hate Amy Schumer, you can't really deny her record of selling out major venues as a comedian, or her record for headlining profitable mainstream movies. When you look at some of the top earning female actors over the past 5 years, you will see names like Scarlett Johansson, Jennifer Lawrence, Gal Gadot, Margot Robbie, and Melissa McCarthy. And you might ask yourself if any of these women have a better acting range than Taraji P. Henson. That's a debate for another day, but what Monique and Taraji should be asking themselves is, what did these women do to earn the type of money that they command per movie? Furthermore, are they willing to rebrand themselves in order to be more marketable within the industry? Now, my favorite part of this interview was when Monique talked about her experience doing the Parkers and how she really didn't know how the business worked or how to negotiate in Hollywood. To me, this was the highlight of the interview because it kind of dispelled the notion that Hollywood is only out to get black women and that everybody else is safe. In my opinion, the mission of the business world is to get over on anybody that they can. If a seasoned business person senses weakness or blood in the water when dealing with a client or employee, then they will try to take advantage of the situation. For those who watch the TV show Shark Tank, this happens all the time when entrepreneurs come on the show and try to get a partner for their business. They pitch an idea, and if the shark knows that the idea is great, but the entrepreneur is weak or desperate, then they will try to take advantage of the situation. If they know that the entrepreneur isn't desperate or needy, then the sharks will either propose a fair deal or they won't propose a deal at all. And this is because they know they can't take advantage of certain people. So when Monique was going over lessons that she learned from her experience in Hollywood, I said to myself, what if Monique followed the same footsteps that Prince and Cat Williams took when trying to educate fellow artists and entertainers about the importance of knowing your worth and doing smart business deals? But in closing, I want to acknowledge that Monique was done wrong by some of the icons in the industry, and I also want to applaud Monique for having the courage to fight what is right. My only issue with Monique was how she chose to fight. I think that Monique is fighting an ongoing war with no end in sight. I think that she chose to use her voice instead of her mind to fight, which was not a smart move because she's a midget in an industry with giants, and she chooses to play checkers when everybody else is playing chess. I think that the best way for Monique to fight against the likes of Tyler Perry, Oprah, and Will Packer is to continue proving that she can be successful and influential in Hollywood without their help. And after reaching a high level of success, Monique can then use her platform to bless others. But those are my thoughts, and I would like to know what you all think about the Monique interview on the Club Shay Shay podcast. Feel free to leave all comments below in the comment section, and I'll be sure to reply to everybody. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.